Hello, gentlemen. I hope you're all having a great day, and I hope you're working towards building the life that you want. Today I'm going to be telling you guys about a very interesting story that had happened to me personally. This will not be a Reddit read. This is a story that happened to me when I was 18 years old. And it's a story that taught me a lot about what to expect from a lot of modern women. Now, when I say that, this girl was obviously a special case. She was pretty insane, pretty messed up in the head. And, this is obviously not a representation of every woman out there. There are some women out there who are really great, and then there are some that are not great. But I'm going to tell you guys this story, and I'm going to go off the cuff, so just bear with me. So, when I was 18 years old, I went to community college, and there was a little art museum that I was at, and part of the art museum was like the Performing Arts Center, and I met this girl there, and I'm not going to say her name, but I met this girl, and the first time I met her, she was very, very nice, and I had seen her before, and I had known who she was. Well, I didn't know her name, but I had seen her, and I'd known of who that is. I remember one time she went to high school with one of my friends who was a peer of mine. And I remember one time when I was walking with my friend and I pointed at her and I said, "That girl's kind of hot. I might shoot my shot." And he said, "She's got a boyfriend in the National Guard." So the first time I heard that, I was like, "Oh, okay. There's pretty much no chance of me doing anything then." And then that was, I think, a month or two before. And then a month rolls by, and I meet this girl. I say, "Hey, my name is blank. Nice to meet you." And she said, "Oh, hey, my name is blank also." Well, no, we didn't have the same name, but point is, we met each other, and I just didn't want to say her name. But we met each other, and that was the first time, obviously, I had ever seen her and talked to her, and she was nice to me. And then, month rolls by, and I meet her at this art center, and basically from there, when before we were both performing in a competition, and basically we started talking, and she was very nice, very laughing a lot, very flirty, and it was a cool conversation, cool thing. I didn't think anything of it. I still in the back of my head knew, oh, this girl has a boyfriend in the National Guard, so there's really no chance of me getting with her. And then I found her boyfriend on Instagram. I'm like, oh, they've been dating for a year and a half. I guess they're I was like, I guess that there really is no chance of this happening. This is back when I was in my phase of not understanding anything about how women act and how some women will cheat. Anyway, that happened earlier in the morning. And basically, the day was over, and I went home, and I felt good about my performance. And then I checked my Instagram, and I have a direct message. Can you guys guess who that direct message was from? The direct message was from this girl. She had messaged me, and she had said, it would be a waste of you to quit performing when you have such talent the way you do. She was basically gassing me up and buttering me up and shit. And from there, we start talking. We keep going. We keep talking. And, she's sharing some personal stuff with me. And by the way, while we're talking this whole time, probably for an hour or two goes by, just back and forth messaging, there's no mention of her boyfriend whatsoever. No mention of the boyfriend. So at this point, I actually screenshotted part of the conversation and sent it to some of my friends. I showed it to my friend who told me that she had a boyfriend in the National Guard, and he was like, "Dude, this is crazy. She messaged you first?" I'm like, "Yeah." And he's like, "You're in, bro. This is insane." And but we just keep talking, and it eventually gets personal. She tells me some personal stuff about her, and I share a little bit of vulnerability, and basically from there it escalates, and then it gets to a point where she drops a big hint that she's kind of always wanted to be with me sexually. We're trying to keep it as PG-13 as we can for YouTube, PG friendly. But she basically made it very obvious how she felt towards me. And in the back of my mind, I'm completely completely blown away by this because, you know, when I was 18 years old, I had no idea that like girls cheated the way that they do. You know, I would actually, like, if a girl says she cheated, I would 100% believe, like, or that she didn't cheat. I would usually just like believe them like 95% of the time. But this was a big fucking shift for me because I realized that this girl was about to cheat on her boyfriend with me, and I was cool with it. And obviously, guys, we eventually meet up, and you know, things happen, and it was pretty crazy to say the least. And you know, I was happy with it because she's very, very attractive, and she found me very, very attractive, and yeah, I guess she just liked the way I looked a lot, and yeah, it basically led to this situation happening. And you know, that's not the first time. I mean, that wasn't the last time that we would get together and, you know, do the nasty. Basically, it happens multiple times, and she never ever breaks up with her boyfriend in this time. She just stays with him. And then it gets to a point where her and I, like, kind of, I don't know, I let her push me around at some points because, like I said, I was still unaware of how some ladies will act. You know, once they have you, they'll try and, like, you know, ring you around. And you know, it just got really, really crazy to me because she eventually started, like, you know, she would gaslight. You know, she was manipulative. Like, someone who's cheating and living like a double life is obviously a manipulative person. And, you know, I'm trying to use like logic and reasoning to like argue with her, and it's just not doing anything because, you know, it doesn't mean anything to these people who are, you know, out of their minds. It doesn't mean anything to them because they're not in a state where they can use logic and rationale. But you know, I eventually find out time passes by, and I feel bad. And guys, before I like move on in the story, I wouldn't recommend doing this. I mean, you know, if I didn't know the guy, so it made me feel a little better. But when you sleep with a girl who's in a relationship, you know, if you're in touch with morality, if you're a strong believer in morality in any sense of the word, I think it's going to bother you. I think it bothers you more than you would expect. You know, you're like, oh, I don't know the guy, and the girl just wants what she wants, and, you know, that's a rationalization. But it felt good in the moment, and then now that I look back at it, I'm pretty ashamed that I did it. You know, the only thing that I really appreciate from it was that I got to see firsthand how a girl will act when she is hiding her infidelity. Like, I remember one time she was literally in a parking lot, you know, going down on me, and her boyfriend called her, and she just like flipped the phone over and threw it on the ground of the car. And I was like, oh God, she's really ignoring. It was funny, but it was like not funny. And then it was interesting because she had a ring on, and I didn't ask what the ring was for, but she got my fluids all over the ring. I'm like, well, that's untastefully ironic. That I really hope that's not like a promise ring or an engagement ring. But you know, I didn't ask because I didn't care really. But yeah, eventually this whole thing happens, and then what happens later, how I resolve this situation is eventually one day she invites me and the boyfriend to the same get-together. She's having like a going-away party because I think she actually decided that she wanted to join the National Guard too. So I meet this guy and I talk to him, and I quickly realize when I see him, I'm not to be disrespectful, but I quickly realize when I see him that we're like the same height, and I would say I'm aesthetically, I'm conventionally more attractive than he was, and I smell better. So I quickly understand why she cheated on him with me, and I realized at that point that I was the bigger, better deal. And that was a huge realization for me, and I kind of learned a lot from the situation. But no, I talked to the guy, and I get to know him. He's a little rough around the edges, but he's actually like, I thought he was a decent dude. And as soon as I got to know him and I realized he wasn't like a bad guy like she had told me, I felt bad because I'm like, wow, I just cucked this guy, and he's a good person, and it sucks. You know, I mean, like, dude, he was 18. I think he was 19 years old. It's like, you know, obviously he's rough around the edges, but that's life, dude. We're not perfect at 19 years old. You're not a fully developed person at 19 years old. So I talked to him, and basically she had conceded that her and I had had bedroom fun once, but it was after when they were like on a break, because eventually she took a break with the guy because I guess she was emotionally exhausted by living a double life, which I get it, because that's a horrible thing to do, and it probably takes a lot of energy to, build a series of lies and keep up with them all. But I told him, I said, hey, dude, I have a lot to tell you and a lot to share with you that you wouldn't even think of, and I'm going to wait a few days before I tell you. And this was actually what made me laugh. Well, not laugh, but like I thought it was tastefully ironic and pretty cool. She was on her way to basic training for the National Guard because she, like I said, she joined the National Guard. And she was on a car ride up to basic training. And she was about to get destroyed for the next, however many weeks basic training is. And her boyfriend in the National Guard is, he's still in the same state as me, but he's very far away. So what I do is I reach out to him and I send him screenshots that basically show she was cheating on her. And he said, oh yeah, she already shared these screenshots with me, which means that she lied about what they were and about the timing of them. And I gave him the correct timing, and I said, no, look closer. This is when this happened. You guys were still dating, and it turns out he wasn't even out of town yet. And I tell him that, and he gets really upset, and he's like, well, thanks for sharing it with me, bro. And his friend calls me because, obviously he's devastated, and I don't think he's in any position to talk. But his friend calls me, and basically his friend is like, we're really happy you told us. His ego is not letting him, his ego will not let him talk to you and be cool with you. And I'm like, no, dude, I completely get it. I totally understand because, that's a tough thing to find out. And I know that it wasn't good of me to do, and it wasn't a morally good decision. However, I really did save him a lot of trouble in the future by letting him know this happened, so he could, cut things off before it maybe escalated to an engagement or even a marriage. And, that's the one positive of the story, is that me doing this, I ended up telling him anyway, because the dude was a decent person, about what his girl did. And his girl would just lie her way through it, the whole situation, and try and, do all these horrible things. And I was sick of it. And I'm like, you know what? You're not a good person, and your boyfriend is a good person. I'm going to tell him what you did. And maybe that wasn't my place, and maybe you can have that opinion, but this is a personal situation that happened to me, and I'm 21, almost 22 years old now. This happened to me 3 years ago, and I've reflected a lot on this situation, and I think that, I really think that I learned a lot, and that I became a better person afterwards, because I learned what it was like to feel really bad, and then I made it right, and I felt good about that. But anyway, gentlemen, I hope you learned something from this story, and I hope you enjoyed it. Please leave a comment below on your thoughts, because this is a real story that happened to me, and I don't really talk about it a lot to people because I'm a little ashamed of it, because I've done some bad shit in my life, and that I feel bad about. But all you can really do is learn from it and grow. We're all human beings. But gentlemen, make sure you're out there taking good care of yourself. Make sure you're going to the gym. Make sure you're eating healthy foods, and make sure you're showing the people who are good to you respect and love, because they deserve it. But anyway, guys, make sure you take care of yourselves. I will talk to you soon. And if you'd like to find more content from me where I talk about my experiences and stuff, you can go. I have a podcast called Stocks and Stand Up, and you can check that out. And I will leave a link to that in the description, Stocks and Stand Up. And it's on YouTube, and it's on every other platform. You get to see me, you get to see what I look like, and you get to learn more about me as a person. But I hope you guys have a great rest of your day. Thank you so much for listening. Goodbye.